computer. Everybody's going to probably have to accept that. All right, so good morning to the Exit Redefined crowd that's with us this morning. Appreciate you all getting up. I always like to compare real estate investing, and a lot about Exit is that we have multiple streams of income that we promote all the time, from your real estate commissions on closings to the exit residual to being a real estate investor, as compared to your kids being involved in horses, because those things crap and eat 24/7, and they're taking money out of your bank account while you're sleeping instead of putting money into your bank account while you're sleeping. So I've done lots of real estate investing. I made a lot more money when the market sucked 10 years ago. We're not going to see the opportunities we saw 10 years ago, but I think we're going to see more and more opportunities for real estate investors to kind of come back into the market, to find some more wholesale deals, to find some more traditional deals, just because of the increase in interest rates and a little bit slowdown in the economy and things like that. So Justin Letheby, who is our director of everything, does our MRED training and our leadership training. He is our engagement leader for Exit International for our offices and a few more things. He suggested that we bring Nate Shields in. Nate is with an organization that I've been involved with in the past. Honestly, the last 4 or 5 years, 6 years, I haven't been, but I'm excited to hear what Nate has to say. He comes from our ranks as a former realtor. He is a wholesaler and investor, and he's involved with an organization which is the largest real estate investors online group in the world, probably. Is that a true statement, Nate?
As far as I know, we're the biggest, definitely in the US.
So 2 million plus tune into BiggerPockets on a regular basis. So with that, unless I forgot something, Justin, we'll just let Nate take over. He's going to spend some time just kind of talking about BiggerPockets and about real estate investing. You can ask him questions about wholesaling and investings. And between Justin, myself, and Nate, I think we probably have experienced it all in our lives and be able to answer them for you. So we'll let Nate do his presentation, and feel free to line up some questions for him. So
yeah,
go ahead, Nate. Welcome, and thank you again for getting up on Saturday morning, because you're in Colorado, so it's even earlier out there than 9 o'clock.
I know, mountain time, right? So it's all good. My kids got me up way before I needed to. So well, yeah, I'm happy to definitely answer any questions throughout the presentation. So just, throw something in the chat, raise your hand, but we'll definitely do Q&A at the end too. How many people here are either investors or have some familiarity with BiggerPockets? So you can answer in the chat, or you can pipe up here too.
Turn on your camera, show us your pretty faces and wave.
All right, so Justin is familiar, probably because he's talked to me.
Yes, I'm
Anyone
familiar.
else?
Yes, I'm
Rico is a
familiar.
big investor, and he also borrows to individuals doing flips and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so private money lender.
Yes.
Perfect. Cool. Well, I'm going to share my screen here. Okay, Tanisha, new, good. We're going to cover the gamut here. I mean, BiggerPockets is for everybody, so let's hop in here. All right. So BiggerPockets, basically what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to just give you an intro, go over some of the features that BiggerPockets has to offer. We're going to talk a little bit about the marketplaces that we've developed and are continuing to develop. I'll share my story, both part of my agent journey, and then how I found BiggerPockets and how I leverage BiggerPockets for both my agent business and my investing business. And then I want to talk a little bit about why agents should invest in some of the unfair advantages that agents have. And it always surprised me that not every agent does invest. And then we'll certainly get into the Q&A as well. So BiggerPockets, the leading media network and community in the real estate investing space. And we've got education, we've got tools, chances to network with each other in many different ways, anything from our forums to local meetups, our conference. We've got a bunch of different ways to connect with people. And really, the initial founder's mission for BiggerPockets was to make 1 million people millionaires through real estate investing. And I don't know if we've hit that yet, but it wouldn't surprise me if we have. We've got 2.5 million members and growing. We've been around since 2004. Our flagship is really our podcast. That's how a lot of people discover us at first. That's how I first discovered BiggerPockets. We have usually the #1 real estate podcast, and we're almost always in the top 10 for business podcasts as well. So that's our flagship. And then we have 5 other podcasts that do, they serve their own little niches as well. So we have one that's one of my favorite podcasts right now is called On the Market. And they just follow the macro and microeconomic trends and what that means for real estate investing, which I think this year is more important than ever to kind of understand some of the macroeconomic factors that are affecting real estate. This is a little outdated here. I think we're knocking on the door of 1 million YouTube subscribers. So some people like podcasts. We duplicate some of that content and also do snippets on our 3 YouTube channels. Some people prefer watching over listening. So if you want to do that, go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe there. So we've got a monthly reach of 7.5 million investors. That's through all of our media outlets, especially the podcast and YouTube channel. And then we've got the community forums and blogs, which we'll hop into in a little bit. We've got, I think, 40 book titles that we've published through our publishing arm. And so that's a great way to start learning about real estate as well. And then we've got events. We've got a conference every year. We've got one coming up next month. Unfortunately, it is sold out. We'll be in San Diego in a few weeks, enjoying the warm weather and sunshine there and connecting with a ton of investors and some really high level breakout sessions with some people doing really cool stuff in the real estate investing space. So marketplaces at BiggerPockets. Basically, what we've started building is a one-stop shop to help investors. One thing that we talk about a lot on BiggerPockets is, building a team, and that could be local, it could be long distance, but you need several things in your tool belt to be able to, take down a deal, manage a deal, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys already know this as agents. You need to have your attorneys, your home inspectors, your lenders, you got it all. But with investors, there's usually a few more things. There's contractors, there's maybe a private money lender or a hard money lender, a lot more going on there. And so what we want to do is have a one-stop shop where investors can build their team using our marketplace to identify who would be a good fit for them. If they're looking for a property manager, or they're looking for a CPA that's real estate investor friendly, whatever that looks like, we want to do this one-stop shop. Right now, we have the agent finder. That's the part of the company that I'm involved with, and our featured agent program, which we launched last October, was really just at the request of the community, the BiggerPockets community. Since it's so large, they were just saying that it was really difficult to connect with the right people that they were trying to find. And the first types of people they were looking to connect with were investor friendly agents. So we built the featured agent program, almost a year old at this point, and we've got over 600 agents in a couple hundred different markets. And I can certainly talk about that a little bit later. Unfortunately, Chicago just filled up this week, so we don't have any spots left currently, but if you want to hear more about it, I'm happy to chat with you about it. And
so do you also have a Rockford market, or is that combined with Chicago?
That is a separate market. So if you're in the Rockford market, or if you were, say, like very far west burbs, like where I used to be, DeKalb County, we have some space out that way. And then we can also do a wait list for, Chicago market. Yep.
We have a Rockford office and we also have activity in LaSalle County, so,
Okay. Yeah. We would have spots there for sure.
and our buddy Justin's in DeKalb, so good to
Yep,
know.
that's right. So as far as some of the features of the featured agent program, what makes us a little bit different from some of these other lead services is I'll just share the investor journey in a minute here when we go into the BiggerPockets website. But basically, we're just connecting investors with investor-friendly agents, and people want to do business together. One of my favorite stories was a personal story from about 2 years ago when I was in Madison. I was part of a real estate investing group that was, loosely affiliated with BiggerPockets because that's where we kind of all met each other. I had brought a wholesale deal to a couple friends, and they ended up buying it, and we used one of our other friends in the group who was a private money lender. So we did a double close. So I was out of pocket, no money, because he funded the close on my side. He funded the close on their side as well. So he got the double dip. We all made a ton of money, and we all just got to, collaborate as a group there. And that's kind of what it's like on BiggerPockets. When you're connecting with people there, everyone just wants to help each other out and do deals together. So that's kind of the ethos of the community, is to help each other. We do have more marketplaces coming. Like I said, we've got property management, lending. We will have anything from contractors to CPAs, attorneys, anything you could want to build out your team. So I'll just share my journey as briefly as I can. I was licensed at the end of 2013. Did the agent thing for a couple years. I found BiggerPockets in 2015. A property manager friend of mine had texted me one of the podcast episodes. I listened to it and I was hooked. I listened to all the podcast episodes, kind of educated myself, and then me and a buddy a couple months later, kind of met. We both had kind of the same goals, and we lined up our financing, and we bought our first deal in 2016. Now we've got 27 units in 3 different states, and we're still hoping to grow even more over the next couple of years. I think the next couple of years there will be some very good opportunities for real estate investors. But I also leverage BiggerPockets for my agent business. How I did it was kind of twofold. One was through the forums. So in the forums, people are just asking questions. They might be new, they might be experienced, but there's always these gaps in our knowledge, especially since every deal seems to be a little bit different than the last one. So, you're going on there to either find answers to questions or ask questions directly, and then people are there to help you out. So what I did is I would just set up my keyword alerts, which is a really cool feature on the site. You can set them up for the area that you service, and that way, anytime an investor is searching for your particular zip code or town, that will pop up, send you a notification, and you can hop on the forums and answer questions and add value that way. So what I would do is I would talk about DeKalb and Sycamore and St. Charles and Geneva, the areas I serviced, and that way when someone would be looking for that on the forums, they would see my post. If they thought I knew what I was talking about, they would reach out to me. And even though I'm not currently licensed, I still get leads from a post I made 4 years ago. So this stuff is evergreen content. It lives forever. The forums are never going away. And it's a great way to spend maybe an hour or 2 a week adding value to the community and connecting with people who want to do business. I want to talk a little bit about advantages agents have as investors. I would not have been an investor had I not been an agent, because I was kind of scared, to be honest. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I would have to do. I didn't know the ins and outs of a transaction, all this stuff. So it took me, like I said, a couple years before I even had any type of comfort level with possibly pursuing investing. And then it still took another, few months of educating myself through BiggerPockets and books and YouTube and things like that before I had the confidence level to start investing. But it's kind of a no-brainer for agents. We have a lot of different unfair advantages. Number one being the market expert. You know exactly what's in your backyard. You know what values are. You know where to find the deals, and you know what street's better than the next. That's the great place to start, because some of these investors coming through BiggerPockets, they might be in really expensive markets, and while they might know their market, a lot of them have to invest out of state because they can't either find cash flow in their state, or it's too expensive to invest there. So they have to branch out to a different state, and from the get-go, they're not a market expert, right? But the investor or the investor-friendly agents that they're connecting with there, they can be those market experts. So take advantage of your local knowledge and potentially invest where you're at.
What's the biggest obstacle in getting started, Nate?
I would say the biggest obstacle is usually a mental obstacle.
Exactly. Thank you. That was the right answer. That's why I was looking for. Don't be scared of it. There's plenty of us willing to help you, from Nate to Justin to myself and everybody within the Exit organization. So we believe in it. We believe in the multiple income, and a lot of agents don't do it just because they're scared of doing it mentally.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And like with anything, you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fail at certain things. But if you have a team and people to reach out to, you're never going to get hurt too bad in real estate investing if you have a long-term approach, and you buy things right. So the biggest thing really is to educate yourself as best you can. Our CEO Scott Trench says the average investor on BiggerPockets usually spends about 100 hours educating themselves. So whether that's the podcast, the YouTube channel, or books, spending time in the forums, it does take a little bit of education, but 100 hours at the end of the day, that's not that much. I mean, it's probably less than what you had to do to, get your real estate license. So, just spend that time, and then you got to hop into it. You got to take action, and you got to take consistent action to see results. So the number two unfair advantage, I would say, is just the transaction knowledge. This was kind of a hang up for me. I think I had done about 60 transactions before I did my first investment deal. It was just a hang up for me. I just wanted to understand, okay, what does the title company need? What are the attorneys looking for? At what point in the due diligence process are we in? All these different moving pieces, because I'm not really great at that side of things. I'm not really a paper pusher, all that kind of stuff. I'm more of a deal finder. So the transaction type of stuff, I wanted to make sure I had a very good understanding of. But you guys know how to work transactions, and it's not a big deal. So that's another advantage you have over someone who is not an agent, where they really have zero idea. All they know is they're signing 100 pages of stuff at closing. Number three, you guys have probably been trained or have learned over the course of time how to negotiate like a pro, right? You're negotiating prices, you're negotiating commissions, you're negotiating with other agents. I mean, you're doing it every single day. And this was really helpful when you're trying to find an investment deal, especially if it's an off-market property, you're talking to a seller. How can you negotiate them to get to the best price, things like that. Whereas someone new to the game who's not an agent, they might have little to no knowledge of negotiation. Number four is commission hacking. I've done this a couple times where you can buy a property on the MLS, use your commission, and apply it towards that down payment. Of course, check with your lender and see what's allowed. But this is something that I think a lot of agents forget about, and it's been probably kind of hard the last couple of years just because of how hot the market's been. But it's still something that you can do. Number five is probably one of the biggest ones, is just deal flow. Agents control deal flow. We don't see something on the MLS unless someone raises their hand, a seller raises their hand, connects with an agent, and is able to put it up there. So you get to see the deal before anyone else. There are times when there might be a distressed property, someone's unsure if they want to list it, maybe because it's a hoarder house or it's a weird situation. It could be a deal that you might pick up. You could say, hey, we have a couple options, we could list it. Or, I could buy it, or me and a partner, or let me take this back to my team and we'll see what options we have. But you guys can control a lot of the deal flow, and you guys get to see things before the general public does. Number 6 is your vendor relationships. You probably have, a Rolodex, a phone full of contacts for anything that's needed, an electrician, a plumber, title company, whatever it might be. You already have all these relationships in place, and that makes your job a lot easier as an investor. And then number 7 is just you can bring extra value to your clients when you're an investor. So let's just say you get an investor lead. If you're an investor yourself, you guys already speak the same language. You have a lot of the same goals. You're looking for some of the same things. And so you can provide a lot of value to your investor clients and not be scared to work with investors. I talk to agents every day. And, some agents are like, I hate working with investors. And I think for them, it's mostly a mental block because they had one bad experience. But, they don't want to work with investors because they think they're just a bunch of lowballers who are going to waste their time. And that's really not the case by and large. For the most part, anyone who's educated at all has reasonable expectations in the market, and they know how to work with agents. A lot of times what we see is just people want to connect with an agent because they're out of state or whatever it might be. They just need someone to help them get the contract out there, write it up, work me through the transaction, close the deal. It's usually that simple. It's not like, oh, I want to go make 20 lowball offers. That's not usually the case.
Well, and I would also say, Nate, that when you say that you have lowball investors that we get frustrated with, I would put air quotes around the word investor. Right?
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can remember one of the first times I did it. I had a gentleman like, do you want to invest? And I took around 100 properties. I said, okay, you're not an investor, you're just a shopper. So let's.
Yeah, I guess probably the first question I would use to vet them is, well, how many investment properties do you own? If they say 0, be like, I'm not putting 20 lowball offers in that.
At the end of the day, you'll still own 0.
Exactly. So I'm gonna get into the BiggerPockets website in just a minute here, and then we can hop into some Q&A. But this is what I would do today. If I was an agent and maybe had little or no exposure to the investing side of things, I would go to BiggerPockets and set up a profile. It's totally free. We do have some upgraded profiles. We have the pro and the premium memberships that have different perks that I'll get into, but it's totally free to just hop on the platform. If anything else, it takes 2 minutes and it'll give you a little extra SEO juice for your name and your brand. Someone might find you on BiggerPockets when they're searching for an agent in a particular location. And then I would get educated. I would listen to the podcast, just give it a try and see what you think about it. It's not overly complex. A lot of times, you can just there's probably there's probably 400 or 500 episodes at this point. Go find something that interests you. How to find deals where you can put 0 money down, or how to do creative financing, or how to partner with experienced investors. Whatever it looks like, there's something out there that's gonna get you engaged. And then I would connect with investors on BiggerPockets, connect with them at meetups. The other thing I did when I was an agent is I started my own real estate investing meetup. The reason I did that was because the closest one to me was about an hour away, and I didn't really feel like driving an hour away, and it wasn't really my market. So I started my own, and it was usually pretty small, pretty informal. We just, have a couple beers and hang out and talk shop. But it was a great way to connect with people, and some of the people in the group either became great friends or we did deals together. So attend those meetups. I'll show you how to find those in a minute as well. Become a featured agent. Like I said, we don't have availability at the moment in Chicago, but Rockford, some of the outlying suburbs, we would have some availability, definitely some other markets. A featured agent is just a shortcut to get you in front of more investors that are very high intent leads. These are people that are looking for investor-friendly agents and they want to do business sooner rather than later. And then, lastly, tell your friends, don't be a secret agent. Don't be a secret investor either. You never know where that next lead might come from. Someone might have a relative in distress and, they're headed toward foreclosure, and you could help them avoid that terrible process and what that does to their credit and their life. And you can save them and also pick up a deal that you could either hold for yourself or maybe wholesale it or flip it or whatever the case may be. So make sure that you're telling everyone. And then I would also just say, if you're getting value from this presentation, tell other agents about it. I'd be happy to chat with other agents, other offices, do the same thing for them.
One thing I want to add on that, Nate, it's
Yeah.
so important to all the agents that they're talking to their friends and family, that they're in this market, that they work with investors, that they have these opportunities to quickly unload properties. I haven't been looking for flips because I'm busy with other things, but I did a flip last year, very profitable, very low dollars to get in. It was a $65,000 buy in a condo in Oak Lawn. And in 87 days, my son and I flipped it out. So
Nice.
It's not a lot of work. We made a lot of money off of it. And that lead came from somebody I knew who said, my grandmother died. My dad needs to get rid of the condo and he just wants to dump it. So be out there talking to people, put it on your profile that you work with investors, in your bios. There's lots of opportunities, because unfortunately people are dying every day and people are getting divorces every day. And some of these houses with divorces are trashed because of the relationship and stuff. They haven't been maintained, financial struggles, things like that. So even though the market's tough, there's a lot of off-market opportunities out there. You just have to let people know you're looking for them.
Exactly. Yeah. That's just a huge part of it. I just joined a mastermind that's around like creative financing, and one of their main tips is just like, hey, get involved in our community, because we have people over here that are finding deals, people over here that are funding deals, and then meet somewhere in the middle and find ways to do business together. Don't be a secret investor in that group, because you never know who you might be able to partner up with too on certain things and make a ton of money. And all you have to do is say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do, and this is what I am doing. Who's gonna message me first, kind of thing. And I've already had some messages in that group. So yeah, don't keep things a secret, for sure. I am going to show you a couple things on the website here. First, I'll just kind of go through the top here. We've got the forums. The forums are just a great place to, we have tons of categories. You can search for anything. You can do it by location, look at what's newest, what's trending, what is unanswered. And this is a great way to find people, connect with people, learn about things. Next is the education tab here. I mean, we got webinars, we have boot camps, we've got guides, glossaries, the blog, and then we've got the podcasts. And then for the network, we've got different ways to connect with different people here. And then this is my favorite one, is the meetups. Is a great way to find different meetups in your area. Tools. We've got a ton of calculators, which are awesome. I'll just take you through the rental property calculator real quick. What you can do is, you can put any property in, figure out what the numbers look like, and then figure out what your return is. So this is a property we bought a couple of years ago down in Alabama, and it spits out this nice custom report. It's a nice thing to hand off to your investor clients. It's a nice thing to use for yourself, or it's a nice thing to give to a lender so they can see what the cash flow looks like, what the expenses look like, things like that. You can even brand these to your company, to your business. So the calculators are really cool. Find deals. You can look at the real estate listings that people have posted. We also have like a classified section to connect with different people, different jobs, whatever that might be. Our bookstore, like I said, we have 40 different titles currently. And then here's our featured agent program. This is the where you find an agent. Just for example purposes, I'm going to use our fictional town here just so I don't mess up any analytics, but this is the qualification process that the investor has to go through before they're shown our featured agent page. So they're asked a bunch of questions. Only 25% of the investors actually make it through this process for whatever reason. They drop off at certain points. Usually I think it's this next question, have you started the loan process? They get all excited to go look at properties with an agent and they're like, oh shoot, I am not pre-approved yet. But what we do see is once they do get to the featured agent section, then so then we're showing our featured agents here. Now these are just test profiles, but this is what it looks like. And this is where the investor gets to select which agent they want to work with. So they're gonna see what experience that agent has. They're gonna see if they have a specialty. Like some of our agents only do short-term rentals. So if an investor is only looking to do short-term rentals in that particular area, obviously that's a match made in heaven. Some of our agents, might be on the commercial side, so they're only looking to work with accredited investors, doing 1031 exchanges. Whatever that looks like, our featured agents can put whatever they want in their bio to connect with the right client for them. Any questions about that?
Those reviews, are they reviews from other members of BiggerPockets, or is that tied to like Zillow or somebody like that?
So we can tie it to Google reviews. And then yes, any review from BiggerPockets will automatically show up as well.
So when you're saying Google reviews, are you saying they got to have a Google business profile?
I guess if that's what's needed to get those Google reviews, yes.
So it would be like Justin Letheby, realtor, would be your business profile on Google, right, Justin?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
we can teach that for our office.
Yeah. So let's see. So that's basically our featured agent program. One thing I did want to show you guys is just a way to potentially use the forums to your advantage. Now we have, like I said, we have the free membership. We have the pro, which is $400 a year. And we have premium. Premium is $1,200 a year. Now our featured agents get premium for free. So that's definitely something to consider. But when we're looking at like these trending posts here, typically on BiggerPockets, people are looking in the forums here and they want to, connect with people because they like what they're saying. They're answering their question, whatever it might be. So here's the question: save cash or invest? They give a little context here. Let's just say I like Jason's answer. I want to connect with Jason. He's a banker. Maybe that makes sense. To connect with him, I have to click the connect button. Then I have to wait for him to approve my request, which if he doesn't see the notification or he's not on BiggerPockets every day, it could take, days or weeks, whatever that looks like. But with the premium membership, we'll see if we can find someone. Here we go. So Patrick, he's a real estate agent in Columbus. He's got the premium membership. I believe he's one of our featured agents. If I like his response, the nice thing about the premium level, we give you a lead capture here. So you get this blue contact button. So you don't even have to connect with them. All you do is click contact, put in your phone number, click next, answer a couple more questions, and that lead comes through to you. And that's just an organic lead. So that's one way to use the power of the premium membership when you're building your business. Like I said, if you spend an hour or two, making posts, answering posts on BiggerPockets, this is a great way that some agents are building their business by utilizing our premium membership.
So 2 quick questions for you. So you have the free membership that everybody on the call and everybody who listens to this in the next week or two should definitely join up and kind of get a feel for what BiggerPockets is for. Then they can go to the premium membership for $400.
The pro is 400.
The pro is 400. And you
Mhm.
said the pro automatically gets them a premium, or no? What was the connection with that?
So the premium membership, that's usually 1,200 a year. Our featured agents that are part of our featured agent program get the premium for free.
So if you're in an outlying area outside of Chicago and sign up for the agents program, you'll get okay, got it.
Yep, correct.
And is there a phone app for this, or is this strictly an online desktop form?
No,
Website-based.
this is mostly, we don't have an app anymore.
Okay.
It was just not quite what people were looking for. So I think one is in the works, but it works on mobile as well.
All right, but it's website based. Perfect.
Yeah, yes, yep. Yep. And I'm happy, I'm basically done, but I'm happy to answer any questions about investing, about BiggerPockets, about the featured agent program, whatever you guys want to throw at me. I'm happy to chat.
Questions? Unmute your microphone and ask away. Justin, throw something out there.
Nate, when you said Chicago, what does that mean? I mean, what tier? I mean, is it like DeKalb is the furthest tier it's going out to, or are you talking like first tier, second tier suburbs? What are we talking?
Yeah, so it depends. Another thing that makes our featured agent program a little unique and different from some of the other ones is, if you ever bought like Zillow or Realtor.com leads, usually it's a zip code. Sometimes I think for Realtor.com it's a county, but obviously that's a lot more expensive. What we allow our agents to do is pick a radius for their market. So every agent is a little bit different. Some might want a super tight radius of 10 miles, and then we actually have some agents in our featured agent program that encompass an entire state. So that might be because it's a smaller state, or it might be because they have boots in the ground in different areas. They have a specific business model. Like we have one agent in Colorado that has the entire state. The reason they do that is because they specialize in short-term rentals in the mountains. So they're happy to drive a few hours to sell a $2 or $3 million property.
So it's still maybe for some of us, because we have offices all over in the area, and some of them could still be a possibility depending on the radius, what they're willing to do and where they're willing to have that conversation. So it's still worth having a conversation with.
Yeah, and even if the market is full in your area, if you're interested, it makes sense to get put on the waiting list. That way you'll get contacted as soon as it opens up, because there is two things can happen. One, an agent can drop off for whatever reason, or two, sometimes we do expand our capability in the market. So the reason we cap markets is because we're always looking at our investor demand on this side,
right?
And then we want to match it up with a reasonable amount of agents that will give them options, but we don't want to underwhelm or overwhelm our agents with too little or too many leads. So it's a kind of this balance that we're always kind of
and you want to make sure those who are investing as agents get an opportunity, that a market isn't oversold, so that it's not like being in the nightclub and it's 5,000 men and there's 3 women there, right? So you want to make sure that there's a fair chance that you're going to actually be taken to the dance or have somebody to dance with, so that they continue to pay their agent membership, right? So it's a good plan. Is it based on population? So if I drew a circle around Rockford, for instance, or if I drew a circle around LaSalle or around Champaign, Illinois, or how is that determined? Is it a flat rate, or is it just based on the area and the population?
So it's good. So as far as the rates for the program, that's going to be based on the median sales price for the area. So our price range from like $1,250 up to maybe $7,000. And what you get for that across the board is we guarantee you're going to get 25 investor leads. So for the Chicago area, I believe our pricing is generally around $1,600. So for $1,600 upfront fee, you get 25 leads, and usually most of our agents are closing anywhere between 8 and 12% of those.
So one good deal is paying for the membership a year.
Yeah, if you close even just one out of the 25 leads, you're probably going to get like a 300 to 400% ROI But yeah, most of our agents are going to close 2 to 3.
Perfect. Rico, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. Hi, Nate. Rico Patel here.
Hi there.
Hey, I started with BiggerPockets with a lot of podcasts, so that's probably my ignorance with the website itself. But do you have kind of like a marketplace feature where, let's just say investors are looking for kind of like Match.com, but for investors where they're kind of looking for something specific? Because let's say I have a property in Champaign, and then I'm also a private investor, but there's certain things, certain range or certain rates, things like that, where I would say as a lender, here's what I'm looking for. And a borrower would kind of just look up and see which investors kind of like a marketplace where it's like a match marketplace. Yeah.
Yeah. So occasionally, I mean, you could approach this in the forums. The thing you have to be careful with on the forums is no self-promotion, right? So you can't say, hey, I'm the best private money lender in Illinois. You're going to get flagged for something like that. But if you're just honest about like, this is my situation, this is kind of what I do, you could probably put that in the forums. But let me share my screen again, and I'll see if I can find where this might be. It might be in the classified section here. So under the Find Deals tab, if you go to Ads, Jobs, and Others, I do believe you have to be a minimum pro member to post in here.
You do.
Okay.
So you got to be pro or premium, but then you can pretty much post whatever you want in here when it comes to that kind of stuff. Any type of solicitation or looking for certain things, you can look at. You got the offering, and then you got looking for. So you got a couple different options, and then you can sort it by location.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah.
And you can also, like Rico has a mobile home park, right, for lack of a better word, in Champaign that he's trying to get rid of, the lender on. He could post those deals on the general pages, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, we've got in that same tab, we've got the real estate listings, so you can post listings there if you're a pro or premium member. Tell me more about this mobile home park.
There you go, Nate. Good man.
Are you serious about that one, or
No, I am serious. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I lended money to 2 partners in this mobile home in Champaign County. It's in Ludlow, Illinois. It's central Illinois. And it was only for $40,000, but then the 2 partners kind of had a little riff, and then the partnership broke up. So it was a performing note, but now, long story short, and I did have a deed in lieu, but that got a little bit clouded because there were 2 quitclaim deeds after the purchase, and then my deed in lieu was afterwards. So basically, I'm just trying to sell the note at this point.
Okay, gotcha. It's just a note. Okay,
I have
interesting.
a mortgage, and it's 11 pads and a single family home over there, right there on 57 in Champaign County. So,
Interesting.
yeah, you can reach out to me if you want a little more.
Yeah.
More, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
All right, so Tanisha, Anna, you have any questions? I know Anna's looking to get into flipping and things like that as well.
Yeah, I have flipped before, so I have a little bit of experience there.
Yeah, so I've just this is all kind of new to me. I've kind of been tinkering with the ideal and just trying to figure out how I could do that, because I also work a whole nother job as well. So my time is limited, but I'm actually wanting to get rid of my other full-time and kind of work more on the real estate side of things. So right now, this is just for me, just trying to gather information, figure out what's next steps. I don't want to go broke, and I still have my own home and everything to maintain and stuff like that. So I just trying to figure out what's the best way to get started.
Mm-hmm. So what are you interested in the most, you think, when it comes to the investing side of things?
Probably maybe the flipping part of it.
Okay. Yeah, what I would do is I would, obviously start educating yourself. We have a couple of great flipping books. One is Estimating Rehab Costs, which is really great. It might be slightly outdated at this point. I don't know if they updated it recently, but the principles are really great. And then the other book is it's just called The Book on Flipping Houses. So those are 2 great books that I would recommend anyone looking into flipping. And then I would definitely attend local real estate meetups, talk to other flippers and contractors.
Mhm.
The first thing I would do, so that you don't go broke, is I would ask someone in that group to, if you could just be a ride along, right? So they're
Mhm.
flipping a deal over here, just go through the whole process with them. That way they can show you every step along the way. Like, okay, this is how we funded it, whether it was cash, hard money, private money.
Mhm.
And then how did they find their contractor? And then how did they do their scope of work for the project, things like that. So I would tag along with someone or find a deal and then JV a joint venture with someone in the group or
Mhm.
one of your fellow agents here. And that way you have some other people with skin in the game that have a little more experience, and maybe you're taking a much smaller piece of the pie, but
Mhm.
it's going to give you a lot of confidence and in your ability to vet the deals and then do the next one on your own.
Okay.
I will say too, and I will caution everybody, we had an agent and her husband. They bought one of those, fly to, where the hell did they go? Like, go to Arizona for a weekend for a real estate flipping and investing school. And the group ended up buying a property in New York, which was a 6-unit building or something or other crazy like that. And as an investor, I want to, especially my first couple ones, man, I want to reach out and touch that. I want to walk through it. I want to smell the mold on the wall. I want to smell the dust in the air. I want to meet with the contractors and manage that property and not have something, I like to touch my money. And that includes my investment properties, right? And it becomes so much more difficult to manage flips, manage investments when they're not close to you. So I caution everybody not to buy all the books and bullshit of going out of state to learn it, because you have resources like BiggerPockets, and get the books from BiggerPockets and get, tap into other individuals in the office that maybe want to do deals with you and stuff. Like Nate says, that's a great idea. Shadow somebody, and do a deal with them. There's a lot of investors that are 100% about sharing their knowledge and helping others and stuff like that. So that's great advice for sure. But don't go out of state for $3,000 and buy an apartment building in New York that you can never see. It just isn't the warm, fuzzy feeling. And they flipped 2 houses very poorly and are divorced now. So it didn't work out very well for them. So you just need to be cautious. And, if you think it's a good idea, it probably is.
Yeah, don't buy into the hype machine, right? So,
Right.
watch out for things that are hyped up, the tried and true methods of long-term real estate investing, of certainly with flipping houses, but most really good house flippers are local, right? So they stay in their own backyard. Some do it long distance, and I honestly don't get that. That's a pretty tough chore. It's almost like you gotta have your own company, right? You are the contractor, you hire the people. Like it's a little tougher to do. The first deal that people do, I would say probably 95% of the time, is going to be in their own backyard, or at least within, let's just say, an hour and a half, because some areas might be too expensive or you can't find a deal, but certainly within an hour and a half of you, something you can drive to and get back in half a day. There's going to be something that you can find that will be in your price range and that you can still have eyes on.
Yeah, I was talking to 3 houses in Beloit, Wisconsin, which isn't that far from us, but it was just a pain in the ass because we were doing a lot of the work ourselves. So it wasn't close to be able to watch what the contractors we hired were doing and things of that nature. So especially your first deal, make it close, make it in your own backyard, like Nate says. And
my first deal was 2 miles from my house. So
that's perfect, right? Any other questions we can throw out there? Justin,
Nate,
you have anything to close with?
Nate, yeah, you talked about meetups, and I think it's a good idea for agents to get around and do those. But can you set up your own meetups from BiggerPockets?
If you are a pro or premium member,
Premium.
you can set up your own meetup. So yeah, you got to have that base level pro for $400 a year to post in the meetup section. So yeah, see what's out there. I would start with BiggerPockets. If you're not seeing something, maybe go to meetup.com, because they'll also have have meetups posted there, obviously. But if you want to connect more with like the BiggerPockets community, you're going to find that there. And I know that there's several meetups in the Chicago area, so it shouldn't be an issue. But kind of a pro tip here, I would still say start your own, because if you start your own, you not only do you have control of it, even if you're a newbie investor, you are still looked at as the expert because you are facilitating this meetup, and maybe you bring in some experts. Like I remember when I started mine, I was bringing in people. I brought in an attorney, I brought in someone from the title company, things like that, where you don't have to be the expert, and a lot of times it's just fun to hang out and chat and get to know people. But if you're the one connecting other people, you're kind of that first connector piece. You're that kind of cornerstone. So I would encourage people to start their own out there.
Nate won't say this about himself, but here's what I will say for that. He did do this on his own, and he was out in Sycamore by me in DeKalb, and he was getting people to come 60 to 100 miles away to come visit him at his meetup. So whether or not you think things as an investor, if you do it right, you will build a base. And he did a very good job. I met a lot of people saying, "Do you know Nate Shields?" So it does work. Real quick, just because I want everybody to think about outside the boxes of what intrigued me about this. You had mentioned at one point in time while we were talking about how people are looking at the featured agent / premium account more like from an agent side, from almost like a referral business.
Yeah, so we have some agents that they may or may not have boots in the ground in certain markets, but we do have an agent or two agents in Chicago that's their primary market. But then they have boots on the ground in Indianapolis and Tampa. And then they're looking, I think, in South Florida as well. So they're featured agents in all of these markets, but they're located in Chicago. So if they have boots on the ground there, or they have a relationship with an agent, they're just referring that business. They vet it, and then they'll refer it. So either it's just a pure referral deal, whatever, 25-30%. And the other thing could be they actually bring on an agent to their team, and then they work out a split for that kind of stuff. So some things that agents they're getting a little creative with. They'll pick up a market that maybe they have a really good agent contact in, and they know that they would do a great job at connecting investors. You could vet those leads and then just pass those off and not have to ever, be there or meet with that client except for a quick phone call.
Right. And I really love that idea from an agent perspective of doing some of that stuff, because if you're trying to build some sort of income, so you feel like you can actually make an investment deal, this is a good passive way of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, we're coming up on an hour. No more questions. Nate, thanks again. Do you have some contact information? Maybe you can email me, or is it on the email that Justin sent out? And when I send out the link for the meeting, I'll make sure that I throw that in there so that people know who you are. And
I just threw my email in the chat there. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, you can find me, Nate Shields at BiggerPockets.com. And happy to chat with anyone about anything BiggerPockets, real estate related, or
get nothing else out of this event today. Make sure you sign up for BiggerPockets. It's free. So get your feet wet, put your toes in the puddle, and start moving forward.
Nice.
It's a great opportunity, and I'm telling you, sadly, Nate, I haven't used it for the last 7 or 8 years because I'm busy trying to expand our network. So Justin can stay busy training agents, but I'm going to go back in and re-up my stuff. It's probably erased from the system by now, but I encourage everybody listening to do it. Justin, thank you for the connection to Nate today. Appreciate all of your leadership. And Nate, thanks again for coming out, and
thank you for having me
with you in the future. Any questions, send Nate email, send me Justin email. 2 weeks from now, we'll be back here at 9 a.m. There's a couple different topics I'm kicking around doing. I had a good one that I shared with Justin, and we both were sober, and we still can't remember what that subject was because it was like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning when we were talking. But the other one is we are coming out with a CRM that expands upon the Exit CRM. And so it might be a good time to, we will do that either the 4th Saturday or the 2nd Saturday in October, rolling that out so that we can get that up and running as well. So yes, Anna, have a great weekend. Thank you all. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day, everybody.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Nate. Thanks, everybody.